guys, we are back with another song by Eminem. And which one are we doing today?
Today we're doing Cinderella Man.
Okay.
You know this?
Yeah. I've known every song so far.
Yeah, figured you would.
Like almost every.
So
I'm sure you guys are sick of hearing me say that.
yeah, it's not much of a reaction. Do you know the verses at all?
I know the chorus.
Well, that part, yeah, I expected.
I know like a little bit. I don't
All
know.
right, so we'll listen to it and break it down.
Yeah, so that works.
Yes.
All right. And don't forget to like and subscribe. Follow us on all social media channels. Links in the description below. And our username's right there.
Yes.
Okay.
All right, Cinderella Man.
Yeah. Technically, I'm not even really supposed to be here right now. So fuck it. Might as well make the most of it. Yeah! Feels good! Woo! Guess I'm lucky. Some of us don't get a second chance. But I ain't blowing this one. Nah, man. Shit, I feel like I can do anything now. Who can catch lightning in the bottle? Set fire to water coming out the nozzle on the fire hose. Fly it and swat us.
Cinderella Man, Cinderella Man, Cinderella Man, Cinderella Man.
Smash an hourglass, grab the sand, take his hands and cuff 'em. Spit around to freeze the clock, take the hands of time and cuff 'em.
Cinderella Man, Cinderella Man, Cinderella Man, Cinderella Man.
There's a storm coming that the weatherman couldn't predict. I start the ball prick, you better flee cause I get ticked. It's a wrap, I was down, when I was down I was kicked. I got up, I'm back to punch it to the ground. You trick, it's a trap, fuck my last CD that sits in my trash. I'll be goddamn if another rapper gets in my ass. I hit the gas and I spit every rap as if it's my last. You can die in the blink of an eye, so pat your eyelashes and keep winking and blowing kisses cause you're flirting with death. I'm destroying your livelihood, I ain't just hurting your rap. I catch a flow and get going, the remorse I'm showing ain't slowing for knowing there's nothing you can do about it. Zeroing on my target like a marksman, the target is you. I shut your lane down, took your spot, parked in it too. Arsenic flow, lighter fluid, saliva, what can you do? Go get your crew to hype you up, stand behind you like, woo! That boy's hot enough to melt hell, burn Satan too. Fry his ass and put his asses back together with glue. So you can hate him, he don't blame you, frankly he would too. This game could ill afford to lose him, how about you? Now guess who? Here's a clue, he came to the ball in his white beater, lost his Nike shoe. It's in your ass, he's in your ass, he's all up in your psyche too. Now, what's his name?
Cinderella Man, Cinderella Man, Cinderella, Cinderella Man, Cinderella Man.
I forgot the song. It's only like two verses, so they're like long. It was just like running for 2 minutes.
Yeah.
So, did you ever see the movie Cinderella Man?
No, and I will say when I first heard the song, I had no idea what was going on.
You know what it's about?
No.
So, Cinderella Man was a movie. It came out sometime in the early 2000s. It was with Russell Crowe. He was a boxer who was like kind of like washed up, down on his luck, and then came back and, was doing
Interesting.
well.
Oh, was it like Cinderella because he like dances around the ring
Oh,
or whatever?
so in sports you hear it a lot in college basketball and March Madness. They always talk about like, oh, a Cinderella story. There's like a team who like had no chance of doing
Oh, so like
well.
they come back.
Yeah, so anytime you hear something
Okay.
like with Cinderella, it's an analogy to like the story where it's like, oh, a poor, down on their luck
Yes.
girl, and then, they make it to great heights or whatever.
Okay.
So the movie Cinderella Man is about boxing, so they're obviously, alluding to Cinderella, the children's story.
Yeah.
And so Eminem is doing the same, alluding to the movie and the story, and so he's Cinderella Man. Um, so Eminem comes in, he's doing like a little talking in the intro. He says, "Yeah, technically I'm not even really supposed to be here right now." Then he says, "So fuck it, might as well make the most of it." And
He means
then
like living, right?
yes.
Okay.
So yeah, again, so this is Recovery. It's technically his second album, but as you see, he says that this album is the first one where he really feels like himself again. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? So I never realized that they were saying amen.
I was gonna say that. I always wondered what they were saying, and I always thought it was Amen.
I
But I was like, why would they say that? You know
I
what I
always
mean?
thought they were just saying and then yeah, like I just thought they were singing. I never caught on to the fact like I have the lyrics pulled up on my phone because I always do it when we do this, but I don't read them, you know what I mean,
Yeah.
beforehand. So I was like, oh, amen. I never realized that's what they were saying. Somebody says, yeah, haha, feels good. Woo, guess I'm lucky. And then oh man. Yes. And then some of us don't get a second chance, but I ain't blowing this one. Nah man, haha. Shit, I feel like I can do anything now. And then still the amen is going. And then Eminem comes in. He starts his verse. He says, who can catch lightning in a bottle, set fire to water, coming out the nozzle on a fire hose, flyer than swatters? So, catch lightning in a bottle, which, we've discussed. I believe he had a reference to lightning in another song on here.
Hmm.
But yeah, catching lightning in a bottle is obviously like,
Very hard to do.
yes, it's like nearly impossible. I think it's been done. I
Really?
think so. I think we were talking about this like a few months ago and I looked it up. I think it has been done. So yeah, lightning, it's also a phrase for like when you catch magic. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like when you have something special.
Yes. So he says he can catch lightning in a bottle. He can also set fire to water, which
It's
is
pretty difficult.
it's impossible, if you have like oil or something,
Yeah,
you know
you
what I
would need
mean?
something else.
So, but not only is he setting fire to water, he's setting fire to water that's coming out the nozzle of a fire hose, which you would think would just put out the flames. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
So it's even more crazy. And then he's saying he's flyer than swatters.
it's
So
like a fly swatter.
yes.
So like,
So
because like fly swatters have flies on them.
yeah.
Okay.
And then it's Cinderella Man, Cinderella Man, Cinderella Man. He says, smash an hourglass, grab the sand, take his hands and cup 'em, spit a rhyme to freeze a clock, take the hands of time and cuff 'em.
It's pretty
So this
good.
is really cool. I really like, so the imagery's cool and like what he's saying is cool. So smash an hourglass. He takes the sand from the hourglass. He takes his hands
He's like
and
holding
cups
it.
them. Yes. And then he says, spit a rhyme to freeze a clock, take the hands of time and cuff them. So he's literally stopping time.
Yeah,
He's like a
because he
superhero.
smashed the hourglass.
Yes. So he's literally has the sand in his hand. So he's got
Hmm.
time on his hands, in
He
his
is
hands.
time.
Yes. And then he could freeze the clock. So freeze the clock as in the clock, the clock itself is not working, but also freezing
Yeah,
time and then taking the hands of time and cuffing them. So
still can't tick.
yes, there's hands on a clock, you know what I mean? Each
Yeah.
thing. So it's cool. And he's cuffing them. So yes, he's controlling time. Cinderella Man, Cinderella Man, Cinderella Man. There's a storm coming that the weatherman couldn't predict. I start to bug, prick. You better flee, 'cause I get ticked.
So bug and tick.
And flee.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, he's saying there's a storm coming, he's about to, unleash the storm. And the
Yeah.
weatherman can't predict it. And he's saying if he starts to bug, meaning, if he starts bugging, like
Like
when
freaking out.
spitting, he's like, you
Oh.
better flee. So you better
Hmm.
leave if I start to bug, because I get ticked, I get mad, I get angry. But yeah, like you pointed out, the reference, the bug, flee, and tick, which is cool. Little insect scheme there. And he says, it's a wrap. I was down. When I was down, I was kicked. I got up. I'm back to punch you to the ground. You're tricked. It's a trap. So, yeah, it's a wrap. So he's saying, he's got this shit on lock. He's back now. He's killing shit again. I was down. When I was down, I was kicked. So, literally the expression being kicked while you're down.
Yeah.
So I do believe he's talking about what was happening in his personal life. Proof died, and then his addiction. So I think Proof died, and then he overdosed afterwards. You know what I mean? So he's all depressed about Proof being dead. So he was like down, and then he overdosed, so he was kicked, and then his music wasn't as good. You know what I mean? So that's what he's saying. He was like kicked while he was down by life, and I think by other people. You know what I'm saying?
And then when he says it's a rap, I feel like that's always a double entendre if it's in a rap song.
Yes. Yeah.
Always. So
Yeah.
it's something to point out.
Yeah, that was in one of the last ones he did that, where it was actually like more blatant, you know what I mean? But
Yeah, but just anytime that's there.
but I agree, you're right. Um, and then he says, I got back up. I'm back to punch you to the ground. You're tricked. So when he was down, he was kicked. So now
Mhm.
he's back to punch you to the ground. So, kicked on the ground, punched to the ground, you know what I mean? A little flip on that. Then he says, "You're tricked. It's a trap. Fuck my last CD. That shit's in my trash.
Which
I'll
one is that again?
relapse."
Oh, that's your favorite, right?
Yep. It
That's
is.
funny.
And he says, "I'll be goddamned if another rapper gets in my ass." So, yeah. So he's saying, you're tricked. It's a trap. So people thought they had him. They were kicking him while he was down. But, he got up and took them to the ground. So, they got fucked. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Um, and then he says, "Fuck my last CD, the shit's in my trash." And then he says, "I'll be damned if another rapper gets in my ass." So he's preemptively saying, I get it. That last CD wasn't the greatest. So
Yeah.
he's doing what he does in the movie 8 Mile, where he takes all the steam out of anything anybody could say to him by first putting out there all his shortcomings. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
that's what just anyone does if they don't want to be made fun of or bullied, really, for something that they do.
Yeah, you saw Eight
You just
Mile,
call
right?
yourself out on it first.
You saw 8 Mile, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's what he does in the freestyle. Is he's like, "I am white, I am." So he did have sex with my mom, like that
He
whole
just takes
thing.
the wind out of your sails.
So that's what he's
Like
doing here.
you don't really have any way to, you can't say something that's already been said.
Yeah, you're just repeating it at that point. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, he's preemptively saying like, "Yeah, fuck that CD, it's in my trash." So he claims he doesn't hate it, but he shits on it all the time. Again, like you said, it's my favorite CD. I love it. He says, "I hit the gas and spit every rap as if it's my last. You can die in the blink of an eye. So bat your eyelashes
So
and
he wants you to die.
so yeah, so it's cool. He actually does two things there. So yeah, he hits the gas and spits every rap as if it's his last. So, he's moving. He's like on his mission, hitting the gas. He's rapping again, and he spits every rap as if it's his last. So it's like the best. And then he says, "You could die in the blink of an eye. So bat your eyelashes." So yes, it's like you could die in the blink of an eye. So
It's like, so please do.
but he carries this into another way. He says, "So bat your eyelashes and keep winking and blowing kisses because you're flirting with death."
That's a good line.
So, yeah, batting your eyelashes, winking, and blowing kisses would be flirting. So he's saying you could die in the blink of an eye. So keep doing that. You're flirting with death. That's, dying in the blink of an eye. And then he says, "I'm destroying your livelihood. I ain't just hurting your rep." So he's saying, I'm so good at this rap shit that when I go against you, I'm not just damaging your reputation by saying you got your ass kicked. I'm literally hurting your livelihood and the way you make money because I've,
Because he's winning.
yeah, I've ruined careers, which he's done quite a few times. He says, "I catch a flow and get going." So I will point out it here. He speeds up. His delivery is really fucking cool in this part. He's like, "I catch a flow and get going. No remorse I'm showing. Ain't slowing for no one. Knowing there's nothing you can do about it." So this is just a cool, like delivery, the way he does it.
Yeah, and he's saying that, like, no matter what, I'm not going to stop. Not for anyone.
Yeah.
Not for you.
Yes, and he has no remorse out of it, and
No.
nobody can stop. There's nothing you could do about it. And then yeah, so the going, showing, slowing,
Mhm.
knowing. So no one is like no one, knowing.
Yeah,
So it's
that's a good one.
yeah, it's a lot of the same syllables being like wrapped in like a very tight frame there.
Yeah.
There's nothing you could do about it. Zero in on my target like a marksman. The target is you. I shut your lane down, took your spot, parked in it too. I
Ooh.
love this fucking line. So yes, zero in on my target like a marksman. Target is you. So literally like, a shooter, a marksman.
Mhm. In his crosshairs
And
in the
he's,
sight.
yeah, so he's zeroing on you because the target is you. And he says, "I shut your lane down." So, the phrase, obviously, like stay in your lane. This is what you
Yeah.
do. If you're whatever, if you're a rapper, and you can't sing, don't try to be a singer. You know what I mean? Stay in your lane, right?
Yeah.
So Eminem is saying, "I shut your lane down." So the whole lane, so the whole rap, you know, lane, he's shutting it down because he's got this. He says, "Took your spot." So he took your spot in there, and then he says, "Parked in it too," and he's staying there.
Yeah, now
So
it's
he's
his.
back in the rap game. He's at the number one spot, and he's not leaving. But then there's the obviously car reference, the your lane,
Yeah,
your spot, and then parked. So it's a whole double there, which is really cool. I like
that's a
that.
good one.
Yeah. And then he says, arsenic flow, lighter fluid, saliva. What can you do? Go get your crew to hype you up, stand behind you like, woo, that's so funny. So
I don't get the arsenic flow, lighter fluid, saliva.
he's just saying, that's his shit. You know what I mean? His flow is like arsenic. So,
Saliva?
well, he's spitting. You know what I
Ah,
mean? Like, yeah, so lighter fluid, saliva, he spits. You know what I mean?
okay.
And poisonous, his flows, you know what I mean? It's like,
Okay.
what can you do? And then he says, go get your crew to hype you up, stand behind you like, ooh, you know what I mean? So like your rhymes are nothing compared to mine. You're gonna need some showy shit of
Yeah,
your
some bullshit, fake people
hype
pretending
man.
like you're good.
Exactly, hyping you up and shit.
Yeah.
Then he says, that boy's hot enough to melt hell, burn Satan too, fry his ass, and put his ashes back together with glue.
Interesting.
So yeah, you're hot enough to melt hell. That's obviously the hottest possible thing.
Yeah, of
And
course.
then burn Satan, who lives in hell. So it's very, very
It's
hot.
kind of funny.
Yeah. And then fry his ass, which goes back to the melting and being hot, and put his ashes back together with glue. So yeah, this whole thing's fire related. So even the fry his ass fire and then ashes, when you burn something, there's ashes.
Yeah.
Put them back together with glue. All right. Then he says, so you can hate him. He don't blame you. Frankly, he would too. This game could ill afford to lose him. How about you? So this one's very straightforward on its
Yeah,
face.
for sure.
He would hate him too because he's fucking awesome. And the game, can't lose him. But how about you? You know what I mean? The game could lose you. It won't be any worse. All for it. Maybe even better. Then he says, now guess who? Here's a clue. He came to the ball in his wife beater, lost his Nike shoe.
Well, wait, go back. So those are both Cinderella references again.
Yeah.
So he came to the ball, like Cinderella's ball, and then
Mhm.
he lost his shoe, like Cinderella loses her glass slipper.
Yes. And then it goes, it's in your ass. He's in your ass.
Ew, I hope not.
He's all up in your psyche too. Now, what's his name? So yes, like you said, this is the Cinderella reference, right?
Yeah,
So he came to the ball. So what she wears a dress? Was it a blue dress, Cinderella?
light blue.
Yeah. So instead of wearing a blue dress, Eminem's wearing a wife beater.
Just a wife beater?
Blue pants right now.
One shoe.
No, so he did have two, but he lost one, much like
So he's
Cinderella.
coming to the ball in a wife beater and one shoe, nothing else.
No, he had both shoes when he got there.
Oh, right.
Because then
He left probably because he wasn't wearing any pants.
and then he says, it's in your ass. So the Nike shoe that he lost is in his opponent's ass.
And he goes, he's in your ass.
Yeah.
And then I was like, oh, God.
That's another like, oh, I'm getting in your ass with it. You know what I mean? Like really beating him. He's all up in your psyche too. So it's funny. He's in your ass and he's in your psyche. You know what I mean? He's in your head.
Yeah.
He says, now, what's his name? Cinderella Man, Cinderella Man, Cinderella Man, Cinderella Man. All right. So there's still 2.5 minutes left. We're just gonna have to let it play and do these long stretches of playing and long stretches of us talking.
Well, you're not punishing anyone by letting it play out. I know that.
I'm not, but when we break more often, it's less
Yeah.
periods of us just talking. Do you know what I mean?
Well,
Consistently.
yeah.
It is.
Is what it is.
Here we go.
If I had a time machine, I'd be Cinderella Man, Cinderella Man, Cinderella Man, Cinderella Man. Music is my time machine, so call me Cinderella Man, Cinderella Man, Cinderella Man, Cinderella Man.
Fuck cats and lightning, he struck it. Scream, son up, it thundered and flipped the world upside down and made it rain upward.
Cinderella Man, Cinderella Man, Cinderella Man, Cinderella Man.
Rewound the future to the present, paused it, don't ask how. Fuck the past, motherfucker, he's the shit right now. He's
Cinderella Man, Cinderella Man, Cinderella Man, Cinderella Man.
Cinderella Man, Cinderella, shady Dane came to rap the game up in cellophane. Raised hell from hell he came, but didn't come to bore you with the Cinderella story. Nor did he come to do the same, or can't afford to be a lame in this day and age. And at this stage of the game, mediocrity can no longer be allowed to fly. So say bye to the old H.I. to the new K-Sarah. Consider it his last hurrah, a coup de grace. Raise him high in the sky, keep him up, time to bring the place alive. They for being patient, I won't make no more mistakes. Shit, my potatoes baked, homie, the veggies on my plate can fly. My filet is smoking weed, get back at the stakes are high. Shit, I ain't even supposed to be here by the grace of God. The skin on my teeth and the hair on my nuts, I skated by. Now y'all are on thin ice with ankle weights, I'd hate to lie. How fucking irritated are you? How much in your face am I? And ain't shit you can do but fear it. Proof is here in spirit, and I'm a spitting image, I mirror it when I stand near it. You pussy lyric, I couldn't hear it. Who forms pyramids and rap circles around square lyricists? Who?
Hey.
Here's a clue. He came to the ball in his white Peter, lost his Nike shoe. It's in your ass, he's in your ass, he's all up in your psyche too. Now, what's his name?
Cinderella man, Cinderella man, Cinderella, Cinderella man, Cinderella man. Hey, hey. If I had a time machine, Cinderella man, Cinderella man, Cinderella man, Cinderella man. Music is my time machine, so call me Cinderella man, Cinderella man, Cinderella man, Cinderella man.
Okay.
All right. So, all right, we got here Cinderella Man, Cinderella Man. Okay, if I had a time machine, I'd be Cinderella Man, Cinderella Man, Cinderella Man, and then music is my time machine, so call me Cinderella Man, Cinderella Man. What do you make of that?
So I guess if the whole Cinderella makes her comeback, then music is my time machine. So I'm making my comeback via music, like Eminem. I'm going to make I'm coming back and I'm making my music and I'm gonna go back to the top of the charts again. And then if I had a time machine,
Is that the clock striking 12? Do you know in the story the clock strikes 12 and the carriage turns back into a pumpkin?
well, it's not really a time machine. I mean, Cinderella probably wishes she had a time machine so she could relive that night over and over and over again, but it was always going to end at 12 o'clock.
So you think when he says, if I had a time machine, I'd be Cinderella Man. Music is my time machine, so call me Cinderella Man. So I agree
I
100% with
think it's because of his comeback. And like he's back and he's making his music again and he's like, I'm gonna be on the top of the charts again.
so he's back to where he was before.
Yeah.
But that doesn't
So it's
match.
kind of like a time machine. It's like, oh, right back like nothing ever happened,
So,
right?
but then it's like, so you're reverting back to where you were before, which is what the Cinderella story is, but in reverse. The
Well,
clock
it's not
strikes.
necessarily like the way he was before, but just like as big as he was. Because it's
No,
music, it's not his whole life. It's
no, I
just
get that.
music,
I'm just saying
I think.
because he's saying if I had a time machine, I'd be Cinderella Man. So it's like, okay, if you're taking that at face value, you have a time machine, and how does that make you Cinderella? And the only
Well,
parallel,
there's absolutely nothing about a time machine that has to do with Cinderella. It's really just the fact that people have like transformed this whole idea of a Cinderella story into meaning a comeback story. And then turning Cinderella Man the movie, he's called Cinderella Man because according to you, he makes a big comeback. So you can just literally change the words to I be comeback man or whatever. And then maybe it makes more sense.
because yeah. So honestly, I think I understand it, but the time machine part's kind of throwing me off. It's like, so what do you need the time? Do you know what I mean? Like he went away and he's back. What's the time machine for him being at the top of the rap game? Do you get what I'm saying?
I guess I don't know.
So in my head, it was like in the Cinderella story, the clock strikes 12 and it reverts back.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Well, she loses
Yeah.
everything, all of the things that she had wished for.
So that's what I'm saying. So he's like doing the reverse of the Cinderella by like going back to where he was good. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. I also think it could just be like, creative, artistic, and just the chorus and not really have all that much meaning behind it. I don't know.
So I feel like usually with Eminem, it's the chorus. You know, if it was a single line, I'd think, oh, maybe it's a throwaway. But I'm like, the chorus. Let us know what you guys think the time machine reference is there.
Yeah.
Okay, so second verse. Fuck catching lightning, he struck it, screamed shut up at thunder, then flipped the world upside down and made it rain upward.
That's
So
pretty cool.
it's really cool. So
Yeah.
he catches lightning in the bottle in the first verse. So he's saying fuck catching lightning.
Like he's the one who made the lightning happen,
So so
right?
so yes. So there's a two things going on here that he does. So he says fuck catching lightning. He struck it, right? So as if he struck lightning, so he doesn't need to catch it, but also as if he struck lightning, right?
Yeah, like he fought it.
And then he says scream shut up at thunder. So he's hitting lightning and saying shut up to thunder. Do you know what I mean?
It just puts like such a funny image in my
I
head.
know. So he's like beating up the weather events,
Yes.
which kind of alludes back to there's a storm coming that the weatherman couldn't predict, right?
So like he is the storm.
Yeah. And then he says, then flip the world upside down and made it rain upward. So, if
That
you
would
did
be
it upside
weird.
down, yeah. So that's a cool imagery there. So yeah, the weather, nice stuff there. Cinderella Man, Cinderella Man. Rewound the future to the present, paused it, don't ask how. Fuck the past, motherfucker. He's the shit right now.
So that's what he needs the time machine for.
Okay, so I think you're right now. But I'm still trying to figure out how that ties in with the Cinderella. I can only think about the clock striking 12. Okay.
I don't know. So if you're rewounding the future to now, so now instead of like waiting to become super big again, you're just becoming big again right now, pause it and just fuck the past. So pausing it, you're like, okay, we're staying in this moment. We're not going anywhere.
Yeah. So this is a cool scheme. So he rewound the future to the present. So he's futuristic, but it's now, right? And then he paused it. Don't ask how. Fuck the past, like you said. Forget the past. That shit's over. Because
Mhm.
he's the shit right now. So that's the present. So obviously, I mean, he says all the words there. He says future, present, past. You know what I mean? So this goes back, this mirrors the first verse of controlling time,
Yes.
the, cuffing the hands of time, all that shit. So future, past, present, he's, in charge of it all. Yes, he's the shit right now. Then he says he's Cinderella Man, Cinderella Man. Cinderella Man, Cinderfella, Shady Dane came to, and then he says, okay, so I'll explain this part first. So, did you ever see the movie Cinderfella? I don't know if you remember when we first moved into this house. I was watching this movie. It's from like the '60s with Jerry Lewis. And it's called Cinderfella, which is a play on the Cinderella story, and it's about this guy who was like I'm trying to remember. He was like poor or something, and he inherited like a shitload of money. And
Nice.
like, yeah, people were out like to get him. So it's a play on on the Cinderella story, but with a guy, and he had a fucked up life and blah blah blah. So there's that. But then Cinderella Shady Dane. So there's a rapper, Dana Dane, and he had a song called Cinderella Dana Dane, right?
Okay.
So Cinderella. So it's another play. So it's weird. There's cultural references on top of cultural references here.
Yeah.
So it's Cinderella is the base. I'm trying to make sure my hand's visible on the screen. So Cinderella is the base, right? The old storybook story. And then there is the Cinderfella, which came out in the '60s,
It's so
right?
funny.
Which is a movie about a guy version, kind of, right? And then comes Cinderella Dana Dane, which is a song where, he's just playing on the Cinderella and then his name, Dana Dane, right? And then Eminem comes in with Cinderella Shady Dane. Excuse me? It's okay.
I swear I'm not tired. Yeah, that's
So,
a
yeah,
lot.
there's cultural references stacked on top of each other. So, like, if you don't know one of them, you're fucking lost.
Yeah,
You
that's
know
why I
what I
looked at
mean?
that and I was like, what? Fran?
Yeah. So I actually don't really know the song well, Cinderella Dana Dane. I think maybe years ago I listened to it because I figured out that that's what he was referencing because I didn't know what he was talking about.
Yeah.
So
I'm like, wow.
yes, Cinderella Shady Dane came to wrap the game up in cellophane, raise hell, from hell he came, but he didn't come to bore you with the Cinderella story. So yeah, so he came to wrap up the game in cellophane. So
Yeah, like it's mine now. It's mine.
yes, so wrap the game up. So he's got it wrapped. So the game is his, right? Wrap is also, cellophane is a type of wrap. And then the fact that he's using Sullivan, he's here to preserve the rap game. He wants to keep it
Oh,
good. Do
okay.
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like keep it good. Everybody else is
Health,
trash.
like fresh and
Yes.
healthy or whatever.
Yeah. So there's that one line, wrap the game up in cellophane. There's a few little references in there. Um, raise hell from hell he came. So that's funny. He's raising
Like
hell.
raising himself.
Yes. And then from hell he came. And then obviously the expression, if you raise hell, you're causing chaos and wild shit.
Yeah.
He says, but didn't come to bore you with the Cinderella story, nor did he come to do the same old, can't afford to be a lame-o in this day and age and at this stage of the game. So he doesn't want to bore you with the Cinderella story, even though the whole song's about his Cinderella story.
Yeah. But it is talking about him in the third person, right? He
Yeah,
keeps
kind
going
of.
he and stuff like that,
The call me
right?
so the chorus is first person, although he's not the one singing it. So
No.
I don't even know what that's considered. I don't know.
I don't. It's just not. It's another person.
Yeah. So yeah, so he didn't come to do just the same old shit. He's trying to make it new, be fresh, Can't afford to be a lame-o in this day and age, so, he's not trying to be lame or at this stage of the game. So this far in his career, mediocrity can no longer be allowed to fly. So say bye to the old HI to the new que sera. So you can't be mediocre, and then he says be allowed to fly and then say bye to the old HI to the new. So high, fly, kind of a little, reference there. So you're
Mhm.
saying bye to the old, in with the new. So it's funny because Eminem was technically old at this time, but then also new again because he came back. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then Que Sera, which is whatever will be.
Yeah.
It's just whatever will be, not whatever will be, right?
Um,
I think it's just whatever it.
I mean, if you're gonna go to like the exact
I
definition,
think it's whatever
it's
will
what
be.
I
What
think
will
it might
be,
even just be whatever. Hold on, let
or
me
what will
see.
be, because K is what will be.
What will be?
Okay, and that's Spanish, right?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So Que Sera, what will be. Consider it his last hurrah, the coup de grace, raise him high in the sky, keep him up, time to bring the place alive. So back here he said, allowed to fly, and then high, and then in this one he says in the sky, keep him up, so he's keeping up with this up theme. So his last hurrah,
Mm.
meaning, oh, this is his last, comeback.
Yeah, like he's not gonna keep going even though he does.
Yeah. And then it says the coup de grace, which is so I don't know the exact translation of that. I know what it means. It's like the best of the best. So this is what, French? Coup de grace? So it
Yes.
means, what is it, the best of
Of grace.
something? So it means the best of the best, your best possible thing. What does it translate to?
I need it in English.
Bu- bu- bu-
Finishing blow.
Finish. Oh, interesting. I didn't realize that was the translation. So his last hurrah, the coup de grace, finishing blow. So that's so funny.
Yep, it's a death blow.
Nice. That reminds me of Mortal Kombat. Finish him.
Because when you say coup,
Mm.
I was like, coup.
Coup de
Usually,
grace.
like a coup is like when you take over.
Yeah. So yeah, the finishing. Yeah, taking over.
Yeah.
That's interesting. Yeah. So the coup de grace, the finishing blow, raise them high in the sky, keep them up. Time to bring the place alive. So again, this high flying sky reference.
In
Bringing the
case you
place
guys haven't
alive.
noticed, we really don't remember anything from learning other languages in high school.
Yeah, I forgot that. Well, I did remember what que sera meant.
Yeah. When you also quoted the song,
What
you're like, is it whatever will be or whatever will be will be? I'm like,
is that? Oh, is that in the song? That's funny. That's really funny. And then he says, "Thanks for being patient. I won't make no mistakes. Thanks for being patient. I won't make no more mistakes. Shit my potatoes baked, homie. The veggies on my plate can fly. I'm gonna keep going first. My fillet is smoking weed. Yeah, faggot. The stakes are high. Okay.
this is like dinner references.
Yes. So thanks for being patient. I won't make no more mistakes. Shit my. So because I already read the rest of it, the mistakes is a little play on steak.
Ah, right.
But he does it. So there's another steak. So mistakes, right? Shit, my potatoes baked, homie.
So it's potato, or like he's saying like he's done,
Like,
right?
so I think like his.
Or
So
like he's ready to go. Like, yeah, he's done. Like he's like ready to be served.
that's
I
interesting.
don't, you know
I
what I mean?
no.
Like he's ready.
I think
Like,
you're right.
oh, it's ready for dinner.
I know you are 100% right. I never caught that. I only caught the one. The potatoes baked is like his brain is like baked, right? Because then he goes into the smoking weed reference. So it's a
Um,
double. I never picked up on the if the potatoes baked, it's ready. Do you
yeah,
know what I
like that's
mean?
the vibe I got. Cause I mean, I feel like if you said out of, not like, let's say in real life, you were just like, oh, my potatoes baked, I would assume that like something bad might have happened, like you're
Yes,
cooked,
that's why I
but also like just literal, like it's ready for dinner, like you're ready to
that's
go.
so funny. I never picked up on that meaning. I think you're right though, 100%. I only got
Maybe.
the my potatoes baked told me like, oh, his brain's fried. Do you know what I mean? So then he says the veggies on my plate can fly, right? So then baked, if it is the high meaning, you're high, right? And then the veggies on my plate can fly, right? So that's another high.
Or
And then
like fuck the, oh, or like fuck the vegetables. Like those shit can fly. I got my potato, you
yeah,
know? Because who wants broccoli when you have a potato?
yes. And then he says my fillet is smoking weed. Yeah,
Oh,
faggot, the stakes are high.
so then they're just all high
Yeah,
references.
all of his,
Okay.
yeah, the whole dinner plate food scheme, everything's high. And then he says, yeah, faggot, the stakes are high. So again, there's the stakes. So the fillet is smoking weed. So even if you just take this one line, my fillet is smoking weed,
Yeah,
the
that
stakes
kind
are
of
high.
gives you insight into the prior
Yes,
lines.
with the, all the other veggies and shit.
Okay.
Then yes. So yeah, my fillet is smoking weed. I'm trying to, if you think about that, like, so when I used to hear that, I'd be like, oh, his thing is smoking weed. Do you know what I mean?
The
Like,
thing.
you know what I mean? Like, oh, that's what he likes to do is smoke weed. My
Yeah.
fillet. So, and then, yeah, the stakes are high. But yes, we got the food references. Then he says, shit, I ain't even supposed to be here. By the grace of God.
That's the second time
What?
he said something like that.
That I ain't supposed to be here?
Yeah.
Yeah, he did it in the intro, right? Yeah. I ain't supposed to be here by the grace of God. The skin on my teeth and a hair on my nuts I skated by.
Okay.
So again, he should have died from his overdose. He shouldn't
Yeah.
be rapping, or even if he didn't die, he could be brain dead. He could not got back into rap. So the grace of God, he got by, but he also got by the skin of his teeth and the
Mm-hmm.
hair on his nuts. He skated by.
Mm-hmm.
And he says, now y'all are on thin ice with ankle weights. I hate to lie. So the thin,
Talking to the other rappers.
yes, and then the skated and thin ice. You
Mm,
skate on ice.
yeah.
So he's saying, I skated by. Now you guys are on thin ice. So he was the one that skated by, but now you're on thin ice with the ankle weights. He says, I'd hate to lie. How fucking irritated are you? How much in your face am I? And ain't shit you could do but fear it. Proof is here in spirit. So self explanatory. You can only fear him. Proof, obviously, his best friend that died. So he's there with him in spirit. And he says, and I'm his spitting image. I mirror it when I stand near it. Your pussy lyric, I cunt hear it. So this is a little interesting thing. I want your thoughts on. So he says, ain't shit you could do but fear it. Proof is here in spirit. I'm his spitting image. I mirror it when I stand near it. So the I'm his spitting image, meaning he's just like proof, right? And then
Yeah.
his spitting image, like they both rap, they both spit rhymes. So there's that thing. And then he says, I mirror it. So a spitting image and a mirror, right?
Mhm.
That part makes sense to me. Then he says, I mirror it when I stand near it. What do you think what is the it that he's standing next to do? What is, I mirror it when I stand near it? Is he talking about when he stands near the mirror? He sees proof. Do you know what I mean?
I don't know.
What do you,
I have no idea what that means.
I mirror it when I stand near it. Yeah.
I don't
So,
know what we're or standing near.
well, we're mirroring proof.
Yes, but standing near what? The mirror?
Yeah, that's how
So
I
you're
interpret it.
mirroring, so you rap like him when you look in the mirror?
So he says, "Proof is here in spirit. I'm his spitting image. I mirror it when I stand near it."
I don't I don't get it.
I always just assumed, the mirror, but I don't know what else he could be standing next to that he's
No,
mirroring. His spirit? I
I
don't know.
don't know.
And then he says, "Your pussy lyric, I cunt hear it." So obviously, pussy, cunt. Your
Yeah.
lyrics suck. Then he says, "Who forms pyramids and wraps circles around square lyricists?"
So it's shaped.
Yeah, I love that. Pyramids, circles, square lyricists. So, but if
And then
you,
a round goes in there too.
yes. So, who forms pyramids? So, what are the pyramids? And wraps no, no,
Triangles.
no, I know that. But if you're taking this, so he's wrapping circles around square lyricists. So the lyricists are square, they suck, they're weak. He wraps circles around
Well,
them.
if you form a pyramid around someone, they can't get out.
Yeah,
Like you
interesting.
put someone in a pyramid.
Yeah, could be. He's like the top. Yeah, I don't know. Let us know if you think there's a literal interpretation for the pyramid. Yes, wrap circles around square lyricists. Yeah, the round, like you said, is another thing. He says, "Here's a clue. Here's a clue. He came to the ball. Blah 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 blah." And then
And I
that's
think
it.
it just ends. Yeah.
Yeah, chorus and shit.
Yeah.
All right. Jesus, I think this is our longest video yet.
Really? They're only gonna get longer as it gets more
For
complicated.
some of them, the rest of this album shouldn't be too bad. But yeah, we're already 40 something minutes.
Damn.
Yes. All right. Cinderella Man.
It's a really good song. The beat's awesome. I like it more than I used to like it now that I really know what it's about. Because not knowing anything about the movie, not really understanding any of the meaning of this song, I was just like, I don't know what's going on here. You
Yeah.
know, I just knew that the beat was good, and I liked how they were singing Cinderella a lot because I like Cinderella. So
Yeah.
yeah, so yeah, that's
So
that.
yeah, no, the song's awesome. So I just realized I all these lyrics were good. I
Oh
didn't
yeah,
need to look at these
no,
lyrics once.
these people do good.
Yeah, whoever this is. Oh,
Hmm.
Rhapsody.
Yeah, they
Good
do
job,
good.
guys.
Or is it Trapsody? I guess it's Rhapsody.
Oh, I see what you mean.
I don't know.
So Kobe is the guy singing the
Kobe?
chorus. Yeah, he does
Kobe beef?
he's on Kamikaze, I think. We've heard him before. He's on some others. Oh, Talking to Myself, he did on this album.
Okay.
Yeah. But yeah, I love this song. It's great. It's complex,
Yeah, it's good.
so very long video, but we had to do it.
Yeah. Well, don't forget to like and subscribe, and we'll see you guys tomorrow.
See you. Bye.
Okay, bye.